Hey everyone. Well, here we are at the final Disney world in KH1, that being of course Neverland, though the name is a little misleading since this place is mostly a pirate ship and Big Ben, but still a world is a world and we've got to explore it, so here we go. Alright, it only makes sense that we start out in the hold, and as you can see it's a tiny little room. This is where we get locked up originally, and Peter Pan comes and saves us in his very Peter Pan-ish way. But yeah, the thing about here is you can actually turn the camera and it kind of gets stuck. Like the camera really gets stuck over here. And it's quite funny because like I'm really trying right now to push it the other way, but it's not going back. It does eventually if you really try hard enough. But let's move out so we can get it unstuck. And we can see in here there's a couple barrels, you know, a big barrel, a couple little barrels, a little trapdoor that we can't really go through unfortunately. But that's it. It's a very bare room. And to be honest, this world has a lot of bare rooms like this. It's not the most detailed place. We come now to the bigger part of the hold. So here, what can I say about it really? I mean, I'm going to be struggling for things to talk about. There's some more barrels and boxes. You can't interact with them, like you can't throw them like the usual barrels in the game. Of course now we can fly because we've done the main story here. So it's a bit easier. We can fly up here. There's usually a couple of chests there. And I wish I could fly up there, but you can't. It'd be cool if they hid another chest in there or something, but they didn't. Down here there's an anchor. You can see all the normal ship stuff. Bit of cloth on the ground there, but yeah, that's about it. We can see here there's the two adjoining rooms of this hold that we can go through the doors, but we can't go through these little trap door things, whatever you want to call those. There's a lamp, and no, I don't think freeze is going to work on that, so I'm not even going to bother because I know it won't. And we can go into this room. This is kind of like a little treasure room. Usually you got to get Yellow Trinity to open this. Obviously we've done that now, so that's fine. I think there's 3 or 4 chests in here usually, so it does make it this nice sort of treasure room you can get if you come back to the world after you've got Yellow Trinity from Olympus. And without the chests it looks kind of boring, you know, just barrels. If we go up here, look at this tiny little barrel. Oh, that's so cute. But yeah, there's, again, not a lot in here. And unfortunately this thing's blocking that trap, so we can't go through it. Now over there is a door to another part of the hold. But we'll go through there the way you're supposed to go through there. And you can shimmy up this thing if you like. There's absolutely no reason to, but you can do it. I like how Sora's face like looks at the camera. Anyway, and there's another ladder, but you can't go through there either. So I don't know. I gotta say a lot of this world feels like there's stuff that it seems like you're supposed to be able to use, but nothing happens. Like it doesn't actually do anything. Okay, here's another part of the hold, the other room. And this is one of the most empty rooms. Like what I'm even looking at here, there's this thing in the wall here. Is that, do they like shout orders through that? Is that just some ornament? I don't know what it is. But it's just bolted onto the side there. We can go down into this room though. This is a little bit more interesting. So this is the freezer. Now, you might not know it's called the freezer because in this world, going through like a room transition doesn't show the next room's name. Because it's like doors and stuff, it just doesn't show the name. But there you go, like see freezer. So that's quite interesting, I mean, I guess. Like that's one thing that's different about this world is that you can't see the room names, so you might actually be surprised what some of the room names are. And you can see this sort of misty appearance, the cold. You can see how cold it is. This is where they keep food, I guess, and other items to keep them preserved, basically. And we can actually see up into the room above us, the one we were just in. But it looks the same, other than the thing on the wall isn't there. They didn't bother pinning it in for this, so there you go. There's a little bit of insight into how they designed that. They were like, yeah, we don't need to bother with that. They're not going to see that. Of course I saw that because it's me. Can't push or do anything with this box. There's a big long rope in the corner there. And we can climb up. So this is the galley. And if you know anything about ships, you'll know a galley is a cooking area. No, we can't put that fireplace out either. But this is the stove, if you want to call it that. Very basic stove where they cook things. And look at all these logs they've collected. There's a pipe. You see that pipe actually connects to the thing we saw in the other room, on the other side of that. So that's quite nice. It makes it feel like it really is connected properly. You're not skipping any areas. And up there, we can see the rooms above us. And over on the other side, we can see the cabin and the corridor outside of it. As we can see, this just leads back out to the hold. So, yeah. As you might be able to tell, there's not a whole lot I can really talk about here. I'm trying to stretch it. You know, not stretch it, but I'm trying to look at as much as I can. But we've got to move on pretty quickly. Here's one of the cabins. The cabins are pretty similar. There's a couple of differences. This one has a very silly looking Jolly Roger on the wall. And this is the one without a save point, or at least without a permanent save point. The other one has the save point and Tinkerbell. And there's some knife designs up there. Climbing up to here will obviously take us to the captain's cabin, but we don't want to go there just yet. And this is the corridor part of the cabin. Again, look, we can see down. We see down to the room below us there. So I do think this is a thing to speak through, because look at this, it's just a pipe. Like you can talk through these. It must be, right? It must be something like that. And then over here we have a weapon rack with a bunch of knives, swords. Mostly looks like short swords or knives though. And there's the noise of the grate, of course. We have different footstep noises, because it'd be weird if we didn't. Out there, that leads to like the ship exterior. Don't want to go there just yet. So we're going to the other cabin first. And this is the cabin that is probably most familiar to people, because we got Tinkerbell here saying go to the clock tower. Of course, if you haven't defeated Phantom yet, that's going to trigger the Phantom boss, which is kind of scary. We have some pirate attire on the walls here. And of course our save point. We can have a peek into the captain's cabin as well, although I don't think we can see too much without actually entering it. When we examine these, it opens so we can actually go back down through them. But yeah, captain's cabin, definitely the most lavish place here. You know, we've got the seating, we've got this piano, we have his desk. That obviously is a high potion I can't pick up, but it kind of just adds to the feel of the place, to be honest. Just looks like some treasure he's picked up. This, I don't think this is here in the boss fight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not, because that would get in the way, so there's some goblets and stuff. Is actually rather simple looking bed. I'll give him that. Weapons and some things on the wall there, which I'm not sure what those are supposed to be. And we can see he's a learned man at least. There's some writing implements and books. Oh, and if you look down there, so that's one of the cabins below us, but you can see that usually you'd be able to see down another level right from there. But because they didn't want to render two rooms in, I guess, like the room below the room, it's just a black void. So that's kind of weird to see. And now let's exit to the ship exterior. So now finally we have a place where we can actually use our flight. There's the cabin door there to mark it's the captain's cabin with the skull on it. And we won't fly just yet, but we go down here, we can see there's the door that leads to the normal cabin corridor. Buckets, more barrels, lots and lots of boxes. A cannon here, which I would like to try and use fire on. I would love if something happened, but I know it won't. Yeah, no, that's not going to do anything, is it? No. Okay. And we go up here, there's the bell. Even makes a metallic noise when you hit it, so at least they paid attention to detail with that. And yes, we can fly. Now we can finally fly and actually have more freedom. Like, it's all very well flying inside the cabins and stuff, but they're tiny little boxy rooms. This is what flying's meant for. And it's what I wish this world had more of, because they give you a world where you can fly once you unlock it, and then they kind of stuff you in small rooms for most of it. Like, look at this. We can see the stars. We can just fly over the ocean. Some, like, dark clouds in the sky. It's quite a nice little touch. And, hi, guys. And it just, look, it's great, you know? I just think this world could be a lot better. Like, I'm thinking of things like Birth by Sleep Neverland or Days Neverland. And imagining it in this game with the mechanics of this game and the flying, it would have been great. But from what I read, they had to just what they thought would be the most memorable place from the film, which is the pirate ship, so that's the reason for it. But yeah, we can see the water textures at the front of the ship. We can see the water going along, although it is anchored, so it's not actually moving. And we got that nice shape you make in the water when you glide along over it. And it's quite fun, you know, just flying around. It's quite nice. And we can see the shape underneath the ship here, like it's kind of just they've put something under there to make it look like it's mirrored in the water. And of course we can fly up, and there's usually some things to collect up here. There's a better looking Jolly Roger there. And we got this long rope that's going... Can you land on this? Oh, okay, you can. Okay, I fell straight off it. Let me try and land on it again. Alright, I did it. It's quite tricky, and you fall off pretty much immediately, but you can actually land on that rope. And we go right up into the crow's nest. These little lamps lighting the way. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool seeing the whole ship like this. Down at the back of the ship, we have obviously the captain's area. We can see his map here. The ornate wheel, and a couple of chests, big old chests, and even a couple more back here, and a tiny chest in the corner, and then this skull, which looks quite cool. That's about it for the ship though. There's only one more place to go here, and that's of course the clock tower, which is Big Ben clock tower in real life from London. This is what saves this world, which stops it from being like the worst world in my opinion, because this is what we have with the ship, with the flying, but just amplified to the most magical thing, one of the most magical things in the game. Like, we've got this amazing music, Neverland Sky, which is just like distilled Disney magic. Just ignore the corporation side and just think about like the film and the magical parts. And just the feeling, it's just so great to glide around here. We've got the doors obviously that open. I've already said it, I don't think I need to explain it again. But you know, the clock tower, when it gets to certain points of in-game time, the hand will shift on one of the faces and you can open a door, but you got to get there right on time. Here's obviously the face that shows the different times, and well, I haven't got all of them yet, but hopefully the time when game will shift enough that I'll be able to get the last of those. And yeah, I just love this place. I just love the atmosphere here. You know, this big clock tower can go like quite far down and quite far up actually. See, like I can go all the way down, almost down to London below, but just being so high above the city and all the lights and obviously the night sky, the moon being huge, and the colours are really nice here, I've got to say, like the blue sky obviously, and then we've got this really nice glowy orange clock tower face. The colours are really well done, especially with this remaster. Let me go all the way to the top, like I said. Way up to the spire here, isn't that so cool? I don't know what to say about this area. Literally is one of my favourite areas in the game. Of course the Phantom boss kind of ruins this a bit when he's here, makes it creepy, but you know, the reward is once you defeat him, you can come back to here and relive it again from when you first obviously came here from the story. And we can look at some of the background detail as well. I'm sure there are some people who could point out everything that's historically accurate or not, but below us we've got the Palace of Westminster, the River Thames, which actually looks clean, which is very crazy for that river. Just look at the stars. Aren't the stars just great here? There's just so many of them. Again, you wouldn't see this in London today because of light pollution and, well, just normal pollution. And one of my absolute favourite parts is the flag over there. And oh, just look at it. It's so cute. It's got an animation cycle with 3 different looks. Like, it's just so poorly and choppily animated. But it's a sign of the time. This game came out in 2002. It doesn't really need to look that well animated. But I always look at that flag. Obviously, it's the Union flag. And I just look at it and I'm just like, that's really KH1 in a nutshell. Down over there is Westminster Abbey. That's another famous landmark, obviously. St. Margaret's Church is that little building just on the right of it there, just that little tower. The Methodist Central Hall behind it. You know, I don't need to go into every single building, I think, because there's a lot of old buildings here with old names, so we could be here all night if we did that. But you get the idea. It's pretty nicely and faithfully reconstructed from the film. And that really is about it for Neverland. Obviously, not a whole lot. But this area and the exterior pirate ship area, I really do like those, especially this area. I just think this area is great. I don't really need to say much more about it, I just think it's wonderful. But the world as a whole, we have to look at the whole thing. And, you know, we have most of it, you're in cabins, not doing a whole lot. So I'm really glad this area exists to make up for that. But it is one of my least favourite worlds in the game, you know. It's just not a lot of interesting stuff. There's not a lot to look at. There's not a lot of, you know, little mechanical things you can interact with, like Wonderland or something like that. So it's a bit boring for most of it. All I can say really is that there are some chests that are nicely placed. And obviously the clock tower mechanic is a really, really cool mechanic, so there is that going for it. And I understand there is the whole, like, oh, you're trapped in these rooms and then you come out of them. And then you're given the ability to fly and you're in this big area. And that's, you know, that could be a cool thing. But, I don't know, it's just not as good as some of the others. And that's it for the Disney worlds. Next up will be Hollow Bastion, so that's going to be an interesting one. And what I'm planning to do with that is to use my capture card, which I'm going to get tomorrow, hopefully, and stream it so people can pitch in and, like, they'll just watch the process or whatever people want to do if they join. And then also, the recorded footage is going to be a lot better looking, and it's going to be 60 frames a second. So that's going to be really nice. From now on, these explorations should look better. And that's all from me for this video. Stay tuned for next time for Hollow Bastion, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.